What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today we're going to be getting into a video that it was a very interesting concept, because how often when you think about historical figures do you think about the little characteristics of them that maybe you don't really hear or see a lot of, like historical figures in color photos or historical figures in relation to other historic figures, or perhaps even hearing their voices, because the technology to record voices goes back all the way to, I believe, the early 1800s. So there are some historical figures that have had their voices recorded that maybe you aren't aware of. So I decided to do a reaction to this video, which is Voices of Historical Figures. This video was created by a content creator by the name of Pure Data Comparison, and it looks like they just collected a number of recordings from specific historical figures, and we get a chance to listen to their voices. I know I've heard a couple of videos where you can hear certain people's voices. I think I've heard clips of Thomas Edison and stuff like that, but this looks like it's a collection of people, so I thought it would be an interesting idea to check this out. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share on my reaction if it's something that you enjoy. If you want to check out the original video, link is in the description box down below. That way you can watch it without me talking over it if that happens to be an issue. Or if you're a content creator yourself, you can click on that link and you can use it to do your own reaction or make a part of your own video. With that being said, let's jump into this and see what it has to offer. It says use headphones for better experience. Now, I know that it's going to benefit me, but I don't know how it's going to impact you watching a video inside of a video. But if you don't have headphones, then now would be the time to go and grab some.
Martial art
I hear Bruce Lee's voice all the
all
time.
the combative arts like karate or karate, judo, Chinese kung fu or Chinese boxing.
To be fair, from what I understand, this voice that Bruce Lee is kind of putting on in this interview isn't so much the natural way he talks. He kind of speaks in more of a philosophical style when he's doing TV interviews and things like that. There have been candid recordings of Bruce Lee where he's a lot more loose and kind of relaxed with it. He's not speaking so I don't want to say whimsical, but it's he's not speaking as philosophical. He's not trying to sound as deep in other ones where he's just talking just he's hanging out with friends and stuff. There was a phone call with somebody, a friend of his, and from my knowledge, he was unaware that he was being recorded when when this recording took place. So this is how you get more of a real version of his voice. And he sounds the same as far as the way his voice sounds, but the way he speaks is different.
Or karate, judo, Chinese kung fu or Chinese boxing, whatever you call it. All those. You see, Aikido, Korean.
Bruce Lee is one of the three biggest influences on my life as far as
fighting.
Celebrity role models. Him, Michael Jordan,
take this opportunity
Michael Jackson.
just to express my deep gratitude to the English people.
I haven't heard Charlie Chaplin.
Play me. I'm a black American. I'm proud to be a black American. I am proud.
Is Michael Jackson already at the point where he'd be considered a historical figure? I get that, at some point in the future, you look back at Michael and be like, oh, he was a legendary figure, kind of in the same vein as, the Marilyn Monroes and Elvises and people like that. These, cultural figures that, what's the word I'm looking for? They're cultural figures that have stepped out of just their entertainment bubble and became world renowned just people. I'm trying to think of that like the right word, but that's what comes to me.
My race. I am proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride in who I am and dignity.
Fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt eine...
I do have a video that I'm planning on reacting to that essentially takes Hitler's voice and like translates it to English, but it keeps like the cadence and stuff. So like you can hear what he would sound like if he was an English politician, like speaking the way that he speaks and giving his speeches or whatever. So if you would like to hear that, then be sure to let me know in the comment section. It's something I'm probably going to plan on reacting to in the future, but if enough people request it, then I'll like put it up higher on my to-do list.
Фашистская Германия, поставленная на колени Красной Армии и войсками наших союзников, признала себя под...
Two of some of the darkest figures in human history.
The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
One of the top presidents of all time. Easily top 3.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall never surrender.
Why is it that politicians nowadays don't have like that same, like they don't have like a style to the way they speak anymore? Nowadays, everybody has like the same exact carbon copy like voices. Like you don't hear politicians that have like that cadence. Like you think back to like historical figures. You got Martin Luther King, and he's like, I may not get to the mountaintop with you, but I want you to know today that I have been to the mountaintop and I have seen the promised land. Like you don't hear politicians talking like that anymore. Like I get that they're giving speeches, but politicians still give speeches. It's like they read off a teleprompter, and like everybody's trying to like talk to you like they're like your neighbor or something, like Mr. Rogers or some shit. We will fight for you. Oh, you can't point either. You gotta do this shit. We will fight for you. We will be here for you. Like that shit's boring. Move me, goddammit.
سنزحف أنا والملايين لتطهير ليبيا شبر شبر بيت بيت دار دار زنقة زنقة من الدرس والإرجاس لا يمكن نسمح.
I don't know what dar dar means, but he meant that shit.
بدون مبرر.
Everybody's been there at one time or another, one degree or another. But it's like we get hit hard.
Again, Paul Walker is a historical figure. Like he was a like prominent movie star and everything. Would I say that it like gets to the point where it's historical? I don't know. Like not like judging him or anything like that. I'm just like, when I think of historical figures, Paul Walker is like he has a historical mark on like movies and entertainment, but I don't know if I would say that his entertainment like transcends just entertainment the same way that like a Michael Jackson or an Elvis or a like Marilyn Monroe does.
Get back up again.
I came to Chicago with $40 in my pocket. My son is now 12. I'm still married and I love my wife dearly. We had to make a living. I was younger than I am now and thought I needed more. I didn't believe in prohibiting people from getting the things they wanted. I thought prohibition was an unjust law, and I still do.
He almost has that Bugsy, yeah, see, yeah. Like I know that those characters in those cartoons were based on like real like mobsters and everything, but I didn't know that like, was he supposed to be the model for not Bubsy or Mimsy or whatever. Like there was the big like dopey one, and then there was like the short like wise guy one. Like, I didn't know he was supposed to be the inspiration for the shorter one. That's if he actually was. I don't even know.
अगर कोई मुल्क को आज़ाद होना चाहिए वो तो हिंदुस्तान इस आज़ादी के लिए मुल्क है और मेरी तो तमन्ना ये है.
He was a lot older than I thought he was.
The common language of science. The first step towards language was to link acoustically or otherwise commutable signs to sense impressions.
And you can't look down to read the speech. You have to take the speech up. Because if you did, your neck would break, it would fall off.
There is no fear, there is no problem, there ain't nothing but opportunity. And the opportunity is overthrow the government y'all got right now, which is Bad Boy and Nas and all that bullshit, and we will bring a new government here that will feed every person in New York.
I'd like to take a moment and thank everybody in the Apple community for the heartfelt support I got too.
Steve Jobs passed away in 2011. That was around 15 years ago. That means that there are kids that are growing up today that are teenagers that use iPhones that never like knew anything about like Steve Jobs as a person, which is interesting to me because like I remember being around in the 2000s and Steve Jobs, you always like he kind of developed his own like style and look and everything. So like you had that stereotypical Steve Jobs look with the black turtlenecks and the jeans and the dad sneakers and stuff on stage, the gigantic stage, and he has like the little like button thing to activate the thing behind him. Like he became synonymous with like a certain like look and style, something that you don't really see too much in like tech leaders. Like Bill Gates doesn't really have like a style to him other than he wears glasses. But yeah, like the thing, younger people don't probably know like anything about Steve Jobs.
It really meant a lot.
Pele.
Maybe because I made some mistake, I didn't kick you out. They said Pele. I fight with everybody. No, my name is Hanson.
Maradona.
El delantero no puede estar
Maradona.
cansado
Let me know if
de
I pronounced it
correr
wrong.
un defensor para después entregarse al arquero.
He sounds older in this clip. Whitney Houston.
I don't think of her. I don't think of her. Musically, what do I think of her? Yes. I think she's a good singer.
That's a diva response. I've
I
never heard
think
one.
In life, in general, you know, I mean, it's one thing to be romantic in love, but
Heath Ledger. Would I consider Heath Ledger to be a historical figure? Maybe. Like, the Joker role kind of inspired a lot of, like, different things. It kind of changed. For those of you that play video games, there was a what is it called? A teaser game that came out in the early 2010s called PT. And it was a horror game where you just like go through this hallway and there's like all these like psychological horror things happening around you and things like that. And it's like, even though that was just a demo and it never really came out, the impact of that demo could be felt throughout the rest of the gaming industry, because like after that, a lot of games that like were horror based started modeling their games after that PT demo. Like if you look at Resident Evil, for example, Resident Evil 6 compared to Resident Evil 7 is vastly different. And I want to say that's mainly because of PT. You can see the PT influences all over Resident Evil 7. Whereas Resident Evil 6 was a much different game. So it's like, even though it was a smaller thing in the overall like perception of like the gaming industry, it still had a huge significant impact that I would consider to be historical in like that sense. And Heath Ledger's Joker is kind of the same thing. Like, it's just a role in a movie. Like, it was a big movie, but it wasn't like the biggest movie. He wasn't like the biggest star at the time when it came out. But the impact of that role had an influence on a lot of different things that happened after it. So it's like, would I consider it historical? I'm on the fence about it.
I think romance, it's a universal thing.
Kurt Cobain.
I don't know. I've just noticed that people expect more of a thematic angle with
I'd say it's kind of the same with Kurt Cobain.
To it, and before I was just using pieces of poetry and just
he kind of became like a pop culture icon. There goes Marilyn Monroe next. Matter of fact, I would throw Brandon Lee up there too, because his role in The Crow had a significant impact on culture. Like, not just movies and entertainment, but like it had a significant impact on culture.
I'm happy to be back. As I said, it's my hometown.
Yes.
I would rather say that I have director approval, and that is true.
Princess Diana.
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts, but I don't see myself being queen of this country.
Nikola Tesla.
Electric power is everywhere present in unlimited quantities. It can drive the world's machinery without the need of coal, oil, gas, or any other fuel.
John F. Kennedy.
We choose to go to the moon.
I remember the first time I heard John F. Kennedy's voice. I've heard the parodies of John F. Kennedy, but I hadn't actually like heard his voice until like after the parodies. And I was like, that's who all the people are talking like? Like the mayor of Springfield in Simpsons, and I believe there was a character in Futurama that talked like him. I was like, oh, so that's who they were modeling their voice after? Like, it surprised me.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing.
Not because it's easy, but because it's hard.
But because they are hard.
That is a fire-ass line.
Of the human race and the human mind in itself is evolution. Whether it's...
See, now I wouldn't consider XXXTentacion to be a historical figure. Like, a prominent figure in like rap and entertainment, sure. But historical, I'm iffy on that one.
The whole point of the human race and the human mind in itself is evolution. Whether it's evolution spiritually, physically, period. Evolution.
أقسم بالله العظيم وبشرفي وبمعتقدي أن أصون استقلال العراق.
I'm surprised this isn't going back and like playing audio from like older figures, like in the 1800s and stuff.
No, it wasn't like that. I mean, I had to be careful when I answer a question.
Martin Luther King.
Well, probably the newest development is the tremendous drive to increase the number of Negro registered voters in the South.
Bob Marley.
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Lenin.
Новый аппарат управления, лиценз советских организаций. Отныне наступает новая полоса.
Thomas Edison.
You don't have anything the matter with you. Well, I have a little trouble now and then, but that's because I'm getting old. But I'm not a ginger yet.
I don't know if this clip was recorded when he was like very old or not, but it's funny to me how like Tesla seems like he speaks clearer English than Edison does.
But that's because I'm getting old. But I'm not a ginger yet. Well, I don't know. I never heard one.
Kobe.
I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
Muhammad Ali.
Who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him. That's when that little Cassius
I would
Clay
say Ali
from
is
Louisville,
probably
Kentucky came
the
up and
most
stopped Sonny
relevant
Liston,
historical
the man who annihilated
figure in
Clark
sports
Patterson twice.
history.
He was going to kill me.
Like, if there was ever an athlete that I'd be like, okay, who's a historical figure, though? Well, Ali. It has to be Ali.
I wanted to be known as Mandela, a man with weaknesses.
Yo no busco, y mi anhelo no es que haya un enfrentamiento entre el pueblo colombiano. Yo busco la paz y siempre he predicado la paz y he anhelado la paz.
Freddie Mercury.
I love my job, but I hate talking to people like you. Thanks. No, I mean, I love it right now because I said earlier on, you're the last person I'm talking to, so you probably get the best interview, darling, don't worry.
John Lennon.
Well, I wanted to be the wrong one. I wanted to be a painter, which I was lousy at. The only thing I could do was this kind of work. But I insisted on taking painting.
Collège américain de
Marie
radiologie
Curie.
et de la Société américaine de radiologie pour le témoignage d'estime qu'elle m'a apporté ici et auquel je suis extrêmement sensible.
I went to India in 1929.
This audio has a hiss in it.
Finished my
That's sharp.
novitiate and vows, and I was with the Lorettonites for 20 years in India.
What's going through my mind right now is to use the minutes and hours that I have left as fruitfully as possible and see what happens. It helps to live in the moment.
Funny they put like the bombastic upbeat music behind him, ignoring the fact that like they make it seem like he's about to sacrifice himself or some shit. Like, well, he talks like he's about to sacrifice himself. I think that probably has something to do with the psychotic, narcissistic nature of him. But dude, you're about to be put to death because you murdered a lot of people. Like, relax. It's not that deep. I've never heard Mao Zedong speak until that moment. What's funny to me is like whenever you see like video and footage of Mussolini speaking, he has such an exaggerated look to him. Like he has like the face of a professional wrestler. Like you know, like when they do the promos and the wrestlers like in the, like before they even start talking, there in the background, they're like, okay, we're about to talk to Andro the Bone Crusher. We have Andro here sitting next to us. Andro's next to him like this. You gotta do the eyes. Like that's kind of how Mussolini is.
Se complacen cumplir en primer término el agradable deber
The most
de salvar la
ironic
incorporación de tres
historical
nuevas
figure.
naciones.
A deep communist that went on to be most known for his capitalistic merchandise. Now, I know he didn't have anything to do with that, but I just consider it to be ironic.
La incorporación de tres nuevas naciones.
It always surprised me how recent Pablo Picasso was. Over here ranking body counts and shit. Yeah, it's an interesting video. Maybe I'll end up looking at that guns that killed historical figures video at some point in the future because that seems rather interesting. But yeah, if anything popped up in this video that was surprising to you, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, I've heard a lot of different sounds and audio clips of famous people and celebrities that have talked. A lot of these were actually surprising to me. I hadn't heard them before. And I would be interested to learn like when these clips were like released, because again, like depending on what period of a person's life you talk to them, you can get a very different sounding voice, whether they were like really old and like on their deathbed, or whether they were young, or whether they were in their prime. Like it can change. But yeah, if they have anything else that is up with like more voices and stuff, I might check that out in the future as well. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. So please go in that comment section and speak your mind and let me know what you think about this video. With that being said, I'm gonna give you the deuces. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say, and hopefully enjoy the content in the future. And until then, I'm Devon DaVinci, and I'm signing out. Peace.